Hi, today I'm gonna talk about the newly released camera from Canon, the Canon R8, the entry-level full-frame mirrorless camera, and I'm gonna talk about who this camera is for. Now, there has been a lot of videos about the specs of the R8, and I'm not gonna go deep down into those. I'm just gonna do a quick rundown of the important ones. This camera is basically as if the R6mk2 and R5 had a baby like this. And the baby looks like the RP, but it has the internals of the R6, well, most of them. It is similar to the R6 Mark II in a lot of things, but still $1,000 less comes with the price. First of all, it has a slightly cheaper viewfinder, but still better than the one in the RP. It lost the IBIS, which is a bummer for photographers, but actually for video maybe not that big of a bummer, because I think in some cases it can be beneficial. It only has one card slot. That is also a bummer for people that will plan to use this camera professionally. And it has a smaller battery. The battery is, I would say, half the capacity of the R6 Mark II battery, so you will get half the times that you get with the R6 Mark II. And also it lost some dials, so it doesn't have a joystick and a rear dial. Now, when it comes to photo capabilities, it's not as capable as the R6 Mark II in some things, but in a lot of things it is. It has the same autofocus, so you didn't lose anything regarding that, and it also can shoot incredible 40 frames per second. Now the buffer is probably not the same, so you will not be able to shoot the same amount of photos as the R6 Mark II straight away, but it's still really capable, and using JPEGs you can push that buffer a lot. It doesn't have the same mechanical shutter, it has a first curtain shutter. Traditional mechanical shutter has two curtains, first and the second. This one only has the first, so it will introduce some artifacts in some situations, like with the artificial light, but it's still not a bad choice for a lot of different scenarios, so no worries there. And one thing that is really important to some, I guess, is that when you are shooting electronical shutter only, then you will get 12-bit RAW images. If you want 14-bit RAW images, you have to use the first curtain shutter. 12-bit images are still great. I use that function with the R5 a lot. I use compressed RAW a lot, and the file difference is really small, and you have to really push the file to see the difference. So in a lot of cases you will just be able to use it without any fear. So if you are like in shooting sports or wildlife, maybe the R7 is a better choice because it still offers 15 frames per second mechanically. So bending and those type of things will not be a problem for you, and also you get additional reach because it's crop sensor. If you want a full frame, then maybe you should go for the R6 Mark I, or if you can extend the budget, go for the R6 Mark II, because they're offering 12 frames per second, and in some cases that's really important for sports like golf, tennis and that stuff, where bending will be more obvious. However, if you are just a casual shooter, then the R8 will be incredible for like traveling, for hiking, for landscape photography, for portraits, for food photography, and also I think for casual sports shooting is gonna be okay. Electronic shutter will be just fine for that. I use a lot the R5 with its electronic shutter for some extreme sports like, I don't know, rally or BMX, or even for running, and I never saw any artifacts or any bending happening. It's gonna be fine for most of the sports. But if you're planning to use it for professional photography, be aware that it has only one card slot. And if you're earning money from photography, I think it's really important to be aware that cards do die and they do corrupt, and you can even lose them. And in those cases, you could lose an important client, especially if you're like doing weddings or events where you cannot repeat what you've done. This can happen, and I saw people losing their files, and it was not a pleasant thing to see. In that case, I would suggest go and stretch your budget and buy the R6 or R6 Mark II. And if you're like shooting portraits, food photography, product photography, any type of photography where you can back up really often or you can shoot tether, then this is actually pretty great choice because it's affordable and it offers great image quality. As for video, the R8 actually shines the most here. It didn't lose a lot of features from the R6. Actually, it has almost all of them. It lost external RAW recording, which is not that important for most of you. It lost the IBIS. I would say it's actually beneficial in a lot of cases. For example, using the wide angle lenses without the IBIS will produce maybe a better image than with the IBIS that will have the corner wobble. And also for rigging camera to different things like cars, or maybe on rigging it on a first-person drone, it's better not to have the IBIS. Be aware that the electronic image stabilization will crop into the image. The other thing that is slightly different, I would say worse, if there is a record limit for 4K 30 after 2 hours of recording, it's gonna stop, which is I think fine for most of you, and it's gonna overheat slightly faster in 4K 60. But it's incredible that you get 4K to 60 downsample from 6K in a $1,500 body. The camera also comes with all the features like false colors, aspect ratio markers, focus breathing, zebras, everything that this camera got. So you get all the features that some much more expensive video cameras don't even have. So who is the R8 for? Well, I think I answered half of that question already, but I think it's perfect camera for people that are planning to move from DSLR crop sensor cameras, especially Canon was, to full frame mirrorless setup. I think if you have already EF glass, it's gonna work much better if you adapt it to the mirrorless system. So don't be afraid of like switching because of the lenses. You will get a better performance of your old EF lenses with this camera. Also, I think it's a great camera for people that are looking for something small and powerful and capable. And I think this camera is really capable both in video and photo. For traveling, for hiking, for people that are planning to become professionals, this is a good step up, and you can probably build a business with it without any fear. My girlfriend has built up a business with the RP, so I think it's even easier to do it with the R8 with all the photo and video capabilities. I think it's gonna be a great backup camera for sure, like having a small and affordable body that is really capable like this one. And for video scenarios, it could be a really great C cam or a gimbal cam because it's really small, and having a smaller camera on a gimbal will make your life easier. So I'm really thinking about getting one as a backup and as a gimbal setup. Now, although the RF lens lineup is not that extensive, the one that I used are actually pretty good, and some of them are really affordable. I think a great starting point for this camera is definitely the RF 24-105 non-L version. It's really versatile and it is affordable, and combining with the 51.8, you get also something for low light that is not expensive. And if you need the reach, maybe you could also consider the 24-240. I have that lens. Here it is. It's slightly bigger, but it offers a nice reach from 24-240, so you can cover everything with one lens. Nice setup with this small body. For hiking, for travel, and for some things it can be really well, especially if you have it paired with 51.8 for those cases where you need something for low light. The other lens that I would recommend is 24-105 4L. That's more expensive one, but with this lens you can build up a business for sure. It's an amazing lens, a little bit more pricier, but it's gonna last you for a long time, and this is an incredible asset to my workflow. With these entry-level lenses, you can basically cover a lot of different areas of photography, and you can produce interesting images, and the lens lineup will become better with time for sure. Unfortunately, there is no third-party lenses for the RF mount with the IF, but there is a great choice of the used market of the EF lenses that you can use, adapt, and use them to the full potential with the adapter. And also, if you buy the RF glass, this camera will be able to use the full potential of that glass. It's really capable. So there you have it. I hope this was informative, and if it was, please leave a like. If you really liked it, please subscribe. And if you have any questions, please leave them down there in the comment section, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye.